Good afternoon. Good to see everyone. The topic of Gen Z and their financial future is a really hot topic these days, particularly myself as the very oldest of the Gen Z cohort. Francine and Ellen are wonderful people to have this conversation with, given their close involvement with corporate impact and social impact. I'd like to start with Francine. Based on your financial wellness research at Guardian, tell us about the connection between financial stability and mental health.
Great, thank you. Guardian does this survey called Mind, Body, and Wallet. We've been doing it for quite a few years now. And there are clear trends actually with Gen Z. They are the cohort and the generational cohort with the lowest mental health, self-reported mental health data. They feel financially stressed, and that really bleeds into all facets of their lives, particularly causing anxiety, stress, etc.
Ellen, you're a former educator. What kind of impact does financial literacy and education about financial literacy tangibly have on younger generations?
Thank you for that question, and thank you for having us up here. I was a second grade teacher and a school counselor, so these topic areas of mental wellness and learning and the ability to learn are really, really important. And at EVERFI, we're trying to tackle three main things for a better society: financial wellness, mental wellness, and civic engagement. And financial literacy, as we'll hear a little bit more from Francine, definitely lays the pathway for future success for students. And we really see this as fundamental. You see about 26 states now mandating financial education in order to graduate. These are unfunded mandates. And so we are really trying to build the platform and that education and get that out to a network of almost 30,000 schools across America. We have relationships we've built over the past 16 years with 750,000 teachers. And on a co-curricular basis, we're getting financial education into that really important network of schools.
Definitely. And the two of you both working at EVERFI, which is a social impact firm, and Guardian, which is a life insurance firm. Francine and Ellen, EVERFI and Guardian have had a partnership for the past 2 years seeking to materially improve the financial outlook for young people, particularly those from under-resourced backgrounds. Francine, I'll turn to you first. Can you talk a bit about how that partnership is seeking to help?
Sure. So about 3 years ago, I joined Guardian. And part of my mandate was to really look at the kinds of investments that we make in community and to ensure that they were aligned appropriately with who we are as an organization. Guardian's purpose is to inspire well-being. We do that through Mind, Body, and Wallet, similar to the name of the survey. And that translates really to mental wellness, physical wellness, financial wellness. Was looking for partners that could really operate across more than one of those pillars. EVERFI in particular could help us create a bespoke curriculum that helped to address mental wellness and also financial stability for young people. The two are so inextricably linked. And what's interesting is that as we've launched other partnerships through our corporate impact team that really focus on different aspects of societal need, the mental wellness piece is so critical to really all the interventions. So whether it's physical wellness and mental wellness, then it feels differentiated. And we are pushing for these initiatives to actually gain traction. In our partnership with EVERFI, we found that the sponsored usage of the course, i.e. the incidents when EVERFI staff talk to schools and share with them about the curriculum and then the teachers then adopt it, that's coming in at something like 40,000 students who have been using it in the first full year that it's been rolled out. The organic usage is more than double that. Just teachers saying, we don't really have a solution that really addresses a combination of these two things. And we're not selling it, we're not encouraging them, we're just offering it on the platform. And there's such a need for the intersectionality between those two things that teachers are just using it unprompted.
Ellen?
I would love to speak about our partnership. I mean, the beauty, again, of this is that we go into schools. Again, there are these unfunded mandates that are out there. So teachers need to have something. They need to have a curriculum that they can offer to their students. And so we can use technology to get into the far corners of North America. So from the Mississippi Delta to rural Montana to large urban areas, these are all pathways that we can get this mental wellness and financial education together in schools.
And just to build on that a bit, it really was a bit of an education for me too as I looked at the landscape of financial education mandates across the US. Not just states that have financial education mandates, but states that are in the process of legislating and requiring it. There are these laws that are requiring schools to teach financial education as a requirement for graduation, but there aren't the dollars or the courses or the resources that are put behind that. And a partnership like ours can step in into that gap and provide a course that then allows teachers to say, thank goodness, I didn't know how I was going to make this happen, and now here's this resource. And it's good, which helps.
Certainly. We'll have a few conference workers going around with microphones, so shortly, if anyone has questions, I'll be going around to take them, so start thinking. But in the meantime, can you each talk about the role that student debt in particular plays on financial wellness and on Gen Z's ability to get ahead?
Would you like to start?
As a corporate impact professional, I'll say young people are, there are two, I think, main drivers of financial instability. Outside of inflation, one is student debt. And companies are really working to address that in really innovative ways. In preparing for this panel, Elle and I wanted to make sure that we weren't just focusing on necessarily some of the challenges, but the ways in which there is an increasing ecosystem of partners that are working to address that. But student debt, for instance, are preventing young people from saving for retirement and not having even emergency savings, just money set aside to just manage anything that pops up is also a detriment to financial stability. And there too, everyone from government, Secure 2.0 was a law that passed that allows even employers to offer emergency savings accounts and then match some of those contributions. You have student debt. There's a similar process that's underway there where that's increasingly become an employer benefit. And there are mechanisms for lots of fintechs also to step into the space if you have young people who are working gig jobs, because that too is an increasing trend among Gen Z.
I think addressing student debt, we had and Francine was able to be at a conference that we were hosting a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. Corey Seemiller spoke about Gen Z and a little bit about their resiliency and how they're looking to, well, let me go back to her most formative piece of information. That was from ages 14 to 24 have a profound effect on any child's life. And so if you think about, in the intro, we heard the ages of Gen Z, they're right in that sweet spot. So we have an opportunity here to affect change, to teach them more about debt and saving. And what the other thing was that Gen Z is very dependent on their parents for these conversations as well. So you think about the ecosystem of education and reaching that through technology into hard to reach places. Today, we're in about 42% LMI communities. So you get equal access to the education, and then creating this ecosystem of career-connected learning, of mentorship, of the ability to how to even open an account These things are really important so that students can start to talk about and practice all of these good financial habits.
Mm-hmm. You make a good point about the need for particularly technologically savvy ways of reaching young people. How can tech implementations like the kind you're talking about make that education process easier, especially among the very tech savvy youth that we're talking about here?
So in the curriculum that we co-designed with EVERFI, the delivery mechanism is interesting. It's not flat content. There are lots of videos and interactive engagements, and it's really based on a lot that we know about behavioral psychology. Mm-hmm. There's also a component of it that allows for conversation in the classroom. So there are topics that we address around how to spot financial abuse, even, right? How to have conversations that feel awkward, even with your parents, about money. So going even beyond the fundamentals of budgeting mm-hmm. and how to open account to the emotions that we have about money mm-hmm. And how to recognize when those emotions can be a deterrent or can help us have positive behavioral change. Mm-hmm. Those are the kinds of, that's the kind of content that you can deliver through technology by having videos and snippets and quizzes and as much as we learn about what resonates and drives greater usage, we're integrating into the ways in which we teach and how students learn. We also recognize that sometimes the analog version also helps to reinforce the technology itself, and so there's a component that allows people to be able to speak to each other. And it's been clear to us that if one student is well off and another student is struggling financially or from families that are, they can be faced with this very same set of facts and make two very different decisions, both logical. Mm-hmm. So how can you get to a point where students understand that there are different actions that you can take that make sense for who you are, mm-hmm. Strip away the shame, and acknowledge that these are circumstances that they may face throughout the course of their lives, mm-hmm. But technology is a tool to be able to showcase scenarios and then to actually talk through what those scenarios may mean for you.
Fantastic. Are there any questions from the audience for our panelists? All right, well, I'll close us out because we're coming up to the end of our time. I'm really curious in both of your perspectives, what is it about talking about financial well-being and setting oneself up for success that remains such a hot button topic and just such a taboo topic for many parents and for many indeed teenagers?
For everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it's not that taboo anymore. I think where the taboo comes in is when people feel insecure in their own knowledge. And it's why education for parents is equally as important as it is for the students themselves. Mm-hmm. So if you think about bringing, learning into the schools, where meeting people where they are, and then the community surrounding students and facilitating conversation, you need to make sure that the people who are in there with the students also have knowledge to share.
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
I found that as we've gone on this journey with EVERFI and the curriculum that everyone has a money story. And it's people who you wouldn't expect. Oftentimes. And I don't think I've ever introduced the topic of what we do with this curriculum and it hasn't become somewhat of a confessional, right? I've learned a lot of things about a lot of people because the topic of money opens up windows into people's experiences in their lives. That's always fascinating to me. I agree that it's becoming less taboo. But strangers find it easier to open up than people who are familiar, right? It's probably that phenomenon where you tell people the truth if you sit with them on the plane and you don't think you'll ever see them again. But yeah, money, it's central and core to how we feel about ourselves, how healthy our outlook is, and I'm glad that it's getting more attention.
I'm glad as well. Thank you both so much to our wonderful panelists.
Thank you.